Prof, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello.
I want to share YouTube link yẹn.
Okay.
So
So,
for to lè join tó bá more
how about you?
than
Okay.
all right. So ó wà ní under chat.
Okay. So I think Adeleke can hear that. So I only fún wọn ní information yẹn náà.
All right.
But
But tó bá
anybody,
ti more than 100 ni.
it's all right. So no, no. Barrister ẹ̀kọ́ àlejò wa.
Ṣáàjì fóònù mi.
Good day, all. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Good day, everybody.
We can hear you, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock in Nigeria here, and I believe we are in different time zones all over the world. We want to welcome everybody to this maiden international webinar of the School of Library, Archival and Information Science, Lagos State University. I am Professor Emmanuel Layi Adebayo, the Acting Dean, School of Library, Archival and Information Science, Lagos State University. I want to welcome everybody to this webinar. The speakers from Canada and from Malaysia, participants from all over the world, as can be seen on the screen, and Lagos librarian. We want to welcome everybody. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Lagos State University, Professor Ibiyemi Ibilola Olatunji Bello, MNI, FNLI, FSPSP, MPOM, who is the chief host, I speak on our behalf as I welcome our speakers and every participant to this international webinar, the first of its kind at the School of Library, Archival and Information Science, Lagos State University, Nigeria. First in West Africa and second in Africa. I want to recognize the members of management of Lagos State University, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Professor Olufunso Omobitan, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration, Professor Adenike Omotodeboyo, the Registrar and Secretary to Council, Mr. Emmanuel A. Fanu, the Bursar of the University, Mr. Said Babatunde Olanyinka, the University Librarian, who is my boss, Dr. Mrs. Omawumi Makinde, and the entire members of staff and students of Lagos State University, and especially our students at the Department of Library and Information Science. I want to welcome everybody. I also welcome the entire members of staff of School of Library, Archival and Information Science, who are the co-hosts of this webinar. The acting HOD, Dr. Olateju Adeleke, the school officer, Dr. Kasim Oladipo Bada, the school finance officer, the secretary, the lecturers, Ms. Adebola Adegoroye and Mr. Mausi Boko. I want to welcome everybody. The members of LASU Library, who are also co-hosts, and the entire members of Lagos Librarian family. I welcome you all, and our facilitators. We welcome everybody. Dr. Mohammed from University of Malaysia, Dr. Falida from University of Malaysia, and Dr. Phillips Ayeni, McGill University, Canada. So what's the motive for this webinar? What's the motive for the choice of the topic? And what's the curiosity? We are all inherently lazy. We now look for shortcuts to everything even to feeding. And thereby we devise ways and means to get things done. And due to this, we have unethically deployed AI tools to do many things for us. Among these AI tools are ChatGPT and chatbots. These are some of the AI tools that we have deployed. And what can these apps do? These are some of the things that our speakers will delve in today. What is ChatGPT? Chat-generated pre-trained transformer. It can process human language to generate the need responses on issues. It can give responses like human beings in real time and based on users' input. Difference between this and natural intelligence is that artificial intelligence cannot work alone. It depends on users' input. It can give natural answers to questions on conversations. It can generate stories. It can generate essays and can generate poems. It can also answer questions. In fact, it can do virtually everything. But on the other hand, what is chatbots? It is a short form of chatterbots. It's also an AI tool that can simulate human beings, human conversation through voice commands, text chats, or both. So why do we choose this topic? We have seen that human beings are leaning on ChatGPT a lot and thereby plagiarizing. We have seen cases of this. Students and researchers lean on these apps a lot. But is it ethical? We have seen cases of universities cheating experiences, particularly in the United Kingdom. That's just one sample that we looked at. At the University of Reading in England, there were 94% cases of failed AI tests. When their manuscripts were subjected to AI tests, 94 failed. And that is what ChatGPT can do. At the Birmingham City University, there were 402 cases of cheats. At Leeds City University, there were recorded cases of 395 cheats. At the University of Coventry, England, there were 231 cheats cases. And Robert Gordon University in Scotland, there were 211 cheat cases. The University of Hull, we had 193 cases. And Leeds Trinity University, also in England, there were 119 cheat cases. Lincoln University, 82 cases. And University of Kent, 74 cases. And in 2 years, there were 2,962 cheat cases, just in few universities alone. So if we extrapolate this globally, we will know the kind of data that we will have. So what is the effect of this on learning? What is the effect of this on teaching? And what is the effect of this on research? Definitely, everybody is looking for a shortcut. And should we condemn this totally? Or should it be embraced? I hope we will get information on this today. Is it relevant to academic pursuits? Is it reliable to academic pursuits? Is it sustainable in academic pursuits? This is what our eminent international scholars will examine. So at this point, I will yield the screen to the HOD of this department, Dr. Olateju Abayomi Adeleke, who will anchor the rest of the program. Dr. Adeleke, are you there?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay. Please, can you take over?
Good afternoon, everyone, once again. We are pleased to have you join us on this first edition of our webinar in the School of Library, Archival, and Information Science. I will like to call on our speakers at the moment without wasting our time. We need to go into business. And I would like us to note, please, each speaker has 15 minutes and would have another 5 minutes to wrap up after the 3 speakers finish speaking to us. So right now, I would like to call on Mr. Adeoye Augustine Bangboshe to introduce our first speaker for today.
Good afternoon from here, everyone. My name is Bangboshe Adeoye. And today, I'll be introducing the first speaker. His name is Dr. Mod Akman Khalid. He's a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Information Science and Technology, and is the coordinator of a Center for Artificial Intelligence Technology, which is based at the Faculty of University Kebangsaan, Malaysia. He conferred his BS Computer Science, MSc, and PhD degree, all from the University St. Malaysia in 2013, 2015, and 2018, respectively. He was previously employed as an assistant professor at the School of Information Science, Japan, Advanced Institute of Center for Science and Technology, NOMI, Japan, while also serving as a member of the Research Center for Entertainment and Science 2019 to 2020. He's also a member of the International Research Center for Artificial Intelligence and Entertainment Science 2022 and 2023. He's an active program committee for the IFIP International Center, International Conference on Entertainment and Computing, and also Asia Workshop of Information Science and Technology. He's also a member of IEEE, also an associate member of MYS Malaysia chapter, a professional technologist satisfied with Malaysian Board of Technologists, and also a member of the Association of Advancement of Artificial Intelligence. He's also regularly invited as a referee for Elsevier, IEEE, and several other reputable journals, while also serving as the guest editor for some of those journals. His expertise lies in artificial intelligence, games, modeling, simulation, data analytics, and optimization. His field of study spans the field of operational research, theoretical game design, risk management, and process optimization. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. T.S. Mono Akman Khalid. Thank you.
Please, Dr. Khalid, Mohammed, can you unmute yourself? Dr. Mohammed, we are waiting for you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Please, you can progress.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm using my mobile because my computer at home doesn't have any audio capability. So I have to use my mobile phone for my microphone. So, okay, without further ado, let me share my screen first. Can all of you see?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you. All right. First of all, I would like to thank you, the Dean and also Lagos University, for inviting me for this talk. It's an honor for me to join this webinar. So today I'm going to share a little bit about AI use and misuse, double-edged features of advanced technology. So the concept and basic processes of AI actually, AI is part of a big topic or big big research idea, which can become symbolic AI, machine learning, deep learning, and generative AI. So the important concept here is the natural language processing, where a lot of people use this technique, some advanced technique, to comprehend human language so that computer can understand us. And then from there, part of the natural language processing is artificial neural network. This is actually a connected unit of nodes called artificial neuron, where it tries to imitate our brain. Basically, from input, go through another hidden layer to produce an output. And from there, where the transformer model or language model comes, because we want to understand, we want computer to understand our language, we start to produce a lot of different neural network structure, and one of them actually is transformer model, where this neural network learn context. It learns our language context by tracking relationship between sequence of words. So these are example of, let's say you're given a text and it will translate into another language. And then another concept is large language model. So previously we have language model, and what's different between previous natural language processing and different AI tool previously is the large language model capability. Because now large language model are capable of general purpose, understanding general purpose language, and it trained on a lot of data. And because of a lot of the coming technology of big data and so on, right? All of this allow people to actually produce this large language model at scale. And then come the generative model. So from here, a lot of people or a lot of researchers try to experiment with different technology and try to experiment with different structure. And this come where we have a generative network and discriminative network, where it try to produce various type of content using the neural network just now, and will produce text, image, audio, and even synthetic data. And this is part of the ChatGPT and chatbot. Okay. Another concept is generative pre-trained transformer, which is the one that we come to become familiar now. This generative pre-trained transformer is a framework of a large language model where it leverage the generative AI technology just now and the artificial neural network to effectively conduct natural language processing. Okay, that's why I introduced you the concept just now, because all of these are connected to become a very large framework for us to actually use in our daily life, such as ChatGPT and so on. Okay, and the basic process of ChatGPT, you have to understand that in the process of converting a sequence of text from into a smaller part. And this is what we call as tokenization, where it can be a single character or a single word. So GPT actually transform this input and produce an output based on that input. You can try this in this link. I will share this with the organizer later. Maybe you can try to see the link directly. So for example, you have input text. What is it, right? You ask the ChatGPT to do something. From there, it will change this text into a token and a number, a numerical number, vector, and will be inputted into the large language model. And from there, it will produce a possibility of output, which is based on certain probability. And the highest probability will get the sample output, which is, for example, the reason is something. So what are the promises and users of this AI tool in education and research? For example, AI in education like ChatGPT and chatbot, right? I believe that this tool actually help us in terms of allowing fast information exchange, because we now doesn't have to process the data from raw data. We can actually use this AI tool to process it very fast and produce good knowledge for us to start to exchange between one another. But the problem is, because we don't undergo the process of extracting the data and also pre-processing the data and so on, this causes us a lot of knowledge gain to be slow. So a lot of people will be less prone to understanding the knowledge itself. And then another is actually the unlimited availability and capacity of AI tool, because AI tool now can actually read a paper, can produce a music, can generate a picture. So this open up a lot of possibility. Okay. However, a lot of people still lack trust and feel that this is actually something that causing real people or real job to be taken by the AI tool. And then what else? AI tool actually allow us to have a better collaborative capability, because we are able to transfer our knowledge very fast, and also exchange information very fast, and even translating information very fast. Now we can exchange across border without worrying the information to be lost in translation, because a lot of this information can be processed very easily. And then of course, because
I think we have lost the speaker along the way.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
please.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
you can continue, please.
All right, sorry. Because I'm using my mobile, so it's a different account. I'm sorry. Maybe it'll take a little bit more time to unmute. Anyway,
All
let me
right.
continue. Okay. So the problem with the automation and personalization is actually it causes a lot of people to lose creativity and even empathy, because we're allowing AI to take over a lot of work tasks and so on, and this is kind of make us less prone to understand other people's hardship and so on. So what are the pitfall and ethical concern that could happen? Okay, so these are interesting picture that I share actually, because you can see that ChatGPT or chatbot in general, right, can cause diversity to become homogeneous, because a lot of people will turn to this tool, and because of that, a lot of creativity being lost because of all the result will be the same. Okay, so that's what we're trying to avoid. So how it could happen, for example, from the data source itself. So these are interesting cases. One on the left side is actually when you ask the AI tool to do something and you put the text "I won't tip" at the end, and because of that, the AI tool performance reduce. But if you say you will tip $20, or if you will tip $200, the performance will improve further. So it's kind of interesting, because these are actually an inherent problem where the data itself actually is the one that causing this to make the AI tool biased towards certain features. For example, giving a tip. Okay? And another thing on the right side actually is where although you give an $1,000 tip, right? The output will be different between May and December. So May actually is where the season around, summer season and so on. But December is usually around, winter season. So winter season actually is where most academician or researcher are not, very, are lazy, very lazy at this time. So in a way, the AI to become lazy also, because the data that it learns from actually coming from these people. So it's quite interesting. Okay. And then another issue actually is alignment. Usually AI will do what the designer want them to do. Okay. But of course, ethical alignment is where we embedded the rational preferences, social norm, and epistemic norms. And this actually can cause a problem based on just now, right? The tipping and also the behavior of people during certain time and period. And then technical alignment, where this is actually attributed toward the goal of predicting, understanding, and control behavior, which is usually what the designer will focus on. But the problem is they are biased toward only technical alignment, not ethical alignment. And this is kind of causing issues. And then other possible problem that could happen is actually AI hallucination. Maybe some other speaker after this might add on this. And isn't even ethical problem like producing something that insulting, hazardous, incite violence, right? So this is something that a lot of researcher and also user of this tool need to be aware of. And then reward hacking, which is optimizing imperfect proxy reward. So basically, it's just focusing on immediate reward, but not the actual long-term reward, which is not very good, right? So if let's say you're asking the AI tool to solve climate problem, you will just focus on the weather. But the problem is not on the weather, it's on the maybe some other factor as well that can cause that. And then inherent problem, like just now, is the data source itself. And then even in the academic performance and have been found that ChatGPT is causing decline in performance because of over dependence to that particular tool. And even in scientific publishing, right, a lot of AI chatbot or ChatGPT or AI tool have been used in terms of writing itself. And it was found in some study that a lot of word within this study, within the article in research article, are coming from AI tool. And then some people actually struggle to tell human apart from ChatGPT based on the 5-minute chat conversation. And this can be, very important because whenever you're doing, for example, like you're doing an interview, right? You might be biased toward, towards your, your own company and or your own preferences. But AI too will be objective and it will directly reject based on specific, precondition. And this can, lead to a lot of problem because we as a human, we have empathy, right? Sometimes we have other consideration, other things that we need to consider when we, trying to have chat or weighting certain decision. And these are interesting. Recently found that AI systems are learning to lie and deceive because of a lot of user of this tool actually try to do that, try to imitate this, and AI started to learn this, started to be, this is related to the reward hacking just now. Basically, because of certain answer is preferable to certain people, it will try to deceive to reach that answer. And this is one of the things that we might not be aware of. For example, AI is pushing the world toward energy crisis. A lot of this AI tool, even ChatGPT, right? If you send one prompt, right, the energy used for it actually is similar to charging your smartphone. So it's a lot of energy being consumed for just one prompt. And even for training the ChatGPT, it was reported that ChatGPT 3 was trained. When it was trained, it consumed around 130 energy, equivalent energy to 130 homes that power that home for half a year. So you can imagine how much energy being wasted to train the AI tool. So these are something that we need to be concerned about. Because the ChatGPT and now ChatGPT 4, right? That is ChatGPT 3. ChatGPT 4 even bigger, the size even larger, right? So what are the impact it can, apply to the environment because of this? So that's it from my side. So I would like to give back to the, moderator. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I believe everyone would agree with me that it's very educative and informative session. Yeah, I'm aware that several people will still like to join us. I've pasted in the chat box the YouTube link. Kindly share with others who would want to join us in this session. I believe we are also keeping our questions because we have time for question and answer. Without wasting our time, I would like to call on Ms. Adegoroye Adebola to introduce our next speaker to us. Thank you. Please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we can hear me. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
My name is Adegoroye Adebola. I'm one of the lecturers from the School of Library, Archival, and Information Science. I have the honor of inviting the next speaker, who is the second speaker for this webinar, in person of Dr. Phillips Ayeni. I'll be giving a brief biography of Dr. Phillips Ayeni. Dr. Phillips Ayeni is a postdoctoral fellow and project manager with the TRACE Transborder Project at McGill University, Canada. He earned his first PhD in Information Studies at McGill School of Information Studies. Prior to this, he earned his doctoral degree. He also completed his Master of Library and Information Studies at the Premier University of Ibadan and Bachelor of Science at Tai Solarin University of Education, Nigeria. He employs mixed methods, research design, and interdisciplinary theory to carry out his research. His doctoral research on open access publishing practices of researchers in the humanities and social sciences discipline earned him several prestigious awards. This includes the Coalition Publica and the Fonds de Recherche du Québec, Société et Culture, FRQSC, doctoral scholarship in Canada. Currently, his postdoctoral research focuses on the intersection of scholarly communication, research policy, and equity of access to knowledge. We welcome you on the platform, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you. You can proceed.
All right, so I'll try to share my screen. Please, can you unshare your screen, Dr. Adegoroye? Thank you very much. All right. Okay. Share my screen now. Sorry, excuse me for I somehow have difficulties in sharing my screen. Come in. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, please, we can see.
Okay. I'm gonna remove my second screen since that's not. Yeah. How about now? Is it good? It's good.
Yes,
All right.
it's okay. It
Okay.
is okay.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so first, I want to appreciate the organizers of this event. Particularly, I want to appreciate Professor Adebayo. I'd like to say that Professor Adebayo was one of my lecturers when I was doing my undergraduate studies at Tashila University of Education. So it's an honor to be a part of this event, and thank you so much to other organizers. I appreciate the Vice Chancellor, the HOD, and everyone involved in organizing this event. So today I will be speaking on what I've called examining the relevance and reliability of ChatGPT in academics. Thank you so much, Dr. Adegoroye, for that beautiful introduction. So I wouldn't have to do some introduction anymore. So on my agenda for this presentation, it's I will first like to talk about development and prevalence of generative AI. First, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm not an AI expert. So what I'll be discussing is just from the perspective of an information specialist or information scientist and a scholar, and someone who has used ChatGPT a bit. And so I really appreciate the former speaker who would actually help us to understand some nuances and concept of this field because he's an expert in this field. So I will just briefly talk about development and prevalence of generative AI. Then I will talk about ChatGPT and its relevance in academia, some drawbacks of ChatGPT for academic purposes, and then I will also touch base on effective and ethical use of ChatGPT in academics, and then I will conclude. So artificial intelligence, as you know, it's a field of computer science, which is responsible for creating systems capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence, right? So, for instance, if you have used the library, and I'm sure some of us are librarians, you know, people come to the library to ask for some information. They want to get to know if a particular book is available or things like that. But these are the things that AI are capable of doing now. So it has the potential, or it can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, right? So asking for questions, directions, information, it can also do a lot of things. For instance, AI can help for learning, it can help in reasoning, problem solving, and also it also understands natural language, right? So it understands several languages across the world, and it also understands this language as if it were humans communicating, right? So it has the capability to have perceptions and all of that, even though it's limited compared to human intelligence. And then so that's what there are several developments in generative, in artificial intelligence. But the latest and the most prominent of this development is the generative AI, which is where ChatGPT comes to play. So generative AI is designed to generate human-like text in a conversational style, right? You can typically have a conversation with ChatGPT, with generative AI tools. For instance, there are several examples of this generative AI. First is ChatGPT, which I'm going to be spending some time on very quickly. And then we have Google Gemini, which is formerly Bard. And then we have Synthesia, which is used for generating video content. We also have Claude, which is for analyzing images. And then the recently developed tool, which was released, a prototype which was released just last week, is Search GPT, which has the capability for research. It can, just like you're searching Google Scholar or you're searching Google typically, but this is just a prototype. But this is the latest development of this generative AI. So what GPT represents is generative pre-trained transformer, which it was generative ChatGPT was launched by Open Artificial Intelligence in November 2022. It was built on GPT 3.5 model, but currently it runs on GPT-4, which GPT-3 has the ability. It runs on 175 billion training values, which means that it has the ability to analyze several billions of values, and this can actually, from there, will be able to give you your answers to what you're asking, because it can run very fast and to analyze several data in seconds. And it's giving you the answers, and you can see the conversation, you can see the lines and the and the sentences writing on your screen. So it's one of the unprecedented real-world AI platforms to date, because when just 2 months after it launched, it has over 100 million users. And it's from data statistics, it attracts 627 million visitors every month when it first launched. I mean, the statistics is reducing now because people are kind of seeing the drawbacks. But when it first launched, it just took over the IT world, and everyone wants to kind of use ChatGPT. So how relevant is ChatGPT in academics? Because this is very important for this discussion. I think from my perspective and from what I've read in literature, it helps. It's a very effective tool for when it comes to general inquiries on topics and subjects. For instance, it can give you an instant reply. It's just like you are chatting with a librarian or with someone who has more information. It gives you the reply and answer instantly. It helps to ensure asynchronous interaction and engagement, which means that you don't have to be like real time to see the person, but it can asynchronously generate your answer and feedback. And this can also help in for academic purposes, for teaching engagement, because students can learn at their own pace. And it's also it's an impetus for academic writing, particularly when you are faced with writer's block. For instance, you want to write on a particular topic or a particular idea, you can actually start from ChatGPT. But it is not well, I'm going to get to that very shortly. It's also a valuable tool for editing academic texts. So for people who are not very conversant with writing academic text, it can help to refine what you have written to a kind of academic text style that would be suiting. But caution, you have to take caution when you are doing this. And it also can help to maintain a consistent tone or a style in writing. For instance, if you're writing for a particular journal or you're writing a particular text, they have different tone and style into different writing, right? So you can use ChatGPT to actually maintain that style. I just giving this a prompt like, can you convert this particular text into an academic? I'm going to show you what I did just to test out this very shortly. So it's a great tool for refining a text into an academic text, just like I said. It's one of these study by Kim and Wong. They asked ChatGPT to revise the following paragraph to research tone. So first, they said many students are using ChatGPT for their take-home assignment. ChatGPT seems more suitable for doing remote exams. So these are just simple text, which some people kind of use day to day. But ChatGPT now converted that text into more academic, a research tone. Like more and more students are turning to ChatGPT for their homework assignment, and it has proven to be an effective solution for remote exams in disciplines such as business, management, law, and social sciences. So it has the ability to to actually convert or to refine your text into an academic tone. These are some of the relevance or importance of ChatGPT. So what are some of the benefits? It can help you to jumpstart your writing. Like I said, it should be used for kind of jumpstarting something. Like you want to write on a particular subject, you just want to have a kind of a general idea of that on that subject. You can use ChatGPT to start, just to read and to know what has been, it can also help to improve your writing style. Like I mentioned, it can be a great writing assistant for non-academic tests. Emphasis on non-academic tests. So just to test this out, I asked ChatGPT to write an academic test on the development of education in Nigeria, citing relevant sources. So it came out with a very, very catchy title, the development of education in Nigeria, a historical and contemporary analysis. Very interesting topic. And then it starts with abstract. The abstract was very catchy. And then the introduction. So in the introduction I read, and it was very interesting, very academic tone. And it also cited a lot of references. So I was very curious. I copied some of the references, I put them on Google Scholar, and then these references are none of them are available. So, so the references are not available. So some of the shortcomings, its sources are often misleading. it can generate something that is very, because it has the ability to search open databases and open platforms to get the information, but to be able to cite relevant sources is it's often very misleading. So it tends to generate false references, it propagates misinformation, and it could be a nest for fake news propaganda. So these are some of the things as a researcher you have to be aware of, that is not every information you get from ChatGPT is what is reliable. So you have to take an extra step to verify the sources and all of that, which actually complicates your workflow. And so when I saw that the references are not correct, so I followed up with ChatGPT. I said, the references you provided are not correct. Why? Is that I apologize for the inaccuracies in the references provided earlier. To ensure that the academic text is well supported with credible sources, it's important to use actual references from legitimate academic and scholarly works. And then it now revised the article, and then it provided another article, and then the references are not correct, and again, right? So it just continues like that. When you want to do it as a researcher, it's not something you rely on. It's not something you even use. You can use ChatGPT to refine a section of your text, like a paragraph or something, but it's not something you should use, should rely on to help you in your work. So you have to develop yourself to be that scholar that can do your work by yourself. So how do you use ChatGPT effectively in the academia? So it's an excellent tool for coding and programming. For instance, people who are like computer scientists, developers and programmers, they actually tend to use ChatGPT a lot to develop codes. And of course, a lot of them are seeing their jobs taken by AI, because some of these things can be easily done by AI. So it's useful for coders and programmers. And then another very important relevance is that it's effective for translation. So if you want to translate from language to another, it's very effective. It works like Google Translate and DeepL. It can be used to translate. It's very effective. It's also useful for text summarization. So I think this is where academics need to use ChatGPT, because it can help you to summarize long articles into very short text, which can help you to now kind of refine what you are working on into your article or into your paragraph, right? You can just, I mean, some of these things are not, you can use the free version, but if you really want to explore the capability of ChatGPT, you may need to subscribe to the premium version, where you'll be able to upload some text, or you'll be able to copy large or long text, and then we'll be able to summarize that text for you. It also works like Quillbot, the Scribble, EditPad. These are some of the very similar functionalities with ChatGPT for text summarization. So it can help to provide quick insights about an article, about a book, or about a text. So text summarization is very, very effective for that. It's useful for general inquiries, general knowledge about something, for mathematical solutions, equations, events, if openly available, because ChatGPT actually depends on openly available data. So once data is behind paywall or not, it's not openly available, it's limited in what it can do. So if you want to learn about new technologies and applications, ChatGPT can help you in that regard. So it can also help in generating ideas, like Professor Adebayo mentioned in his opening remark. It can help in poem. If you want to write a poem, letters, email, it can help, right? Because sometimes you're just not in that right frame of mind to be able to do that. So you can use it to just, but it's not something should be used every time, right? It can help in research ideas to identify research gaps, but this will be limited because ChatGPT is limited to only openly available data, right? So if it's behind, for instance, if the research has been published in Elsevier or Taylor and Francis, all these big publishers, it's the likelihood that it will not be able to access that data is very high, because these are behind paywalls mostly. It's effective for text paraphrasing. It can help to rewrite a text to suit a particular format. So what are the drawbacks of ChatGPT? It only works with openly available data and information, like I've said. So it's limited access to proprietary databases. It relies on open data sets. it can invent false information. Just like I've shown you, it will generate the text and then it will generate references, and then you will think that you have a solid information, but these are all incorrect information. It may mix up facts, yeah, so it tends to be biased, and then the accuracy of information cannot be trusted. So depending on what you are asking ChatGPT to do, so the accuracy may not be trusted. And so it helps to entrench and encourage plagiarism, particularly for people who depend on ChatGPT solely for the academic tasks. It plagiarizes sources and just put the sources together, and then will not be able to cite the right source. So it is limited in giving original thoughts and sources. Another drawback is that it regurgitates training data. For instance, many AI companies are getting sued for copyright infringement, right? So it doesn't really acknowledge the right source. So it kind of get any information it can get, thereby infringing copyright. For instance, The Times sues OpenAI for Microsoft over AI use of copyrighted works. So these are some of the things that you need to be aware of. And so it's fabrication and errors attributed to resources. So when I was trying to check the references that it provided, the journals are actually accurate, the journals, but the issue number and every other information, the title, the name of the author may be accurate, right? But the journals and the title and everything maybe it kind of is, yeah, it's very complex. So it's also very limited in understanding complex text context. It relies on open data. And then another thing is that ChatGPT is limited in generating longer text. So even when you ask it to write like an academic, it can only write like a page or 2 pages. And imagine if you're writing for journals, right? For sometimes you need like 15, 20, 30 pages. So you can't do that for now. So it can only produce short text, bullet point, brief explanations. So what are my recommendations for students? I would say that do not let ChatGPT to replace your brain. That's very important. Dr. Mohammed also showed the study that found that there's a declining academic performance and memory loss in students. Students who particularly rely on ChatGPT for their academic tasks.
Round up, please.
Sorry?
You need to round up, please.
All right. Okay. So use ChatGPT to jumpstart your personal reading, but not to replace it. So try to avoid plagiarism at all costs. So recommendation for faculty members, do not let ChatGPT replace your critical thinking skills, and then provide students with critical thinking assignment and task. Always provide rubrics, and I will provide my slides because I was told that I have 30 minutes to present. That's why I have this long presentation. Sorry for that. So what recommendations do I have for policymakers? Enforce ethical use of ChatGPT in academia. Do not simply ban the use of ChatGPT, but provide guidelines and policy framework for its ethical use in academia. And also provide infrastructural support for the development of new technologies to facilitate effective educational systems. So in conclusion, while we strive to embrace global development of ICT, with AI taking the lead of modern and recent development, we cannot simply abdicate our responsibilities to AI tools. We must continue to harness the potentials of AI for improving our educational system, but it cannot be used to replace human intelligence. Machines, AI tools, can be used for enhancing our work and improving our efficiency. And lastly, ChatGPT can be an effective tool for some tasks in academia, for instance, paraphrasing, text summarizing, translation, etc., but it cannot replace critical thinking and problem-solving skills and distinct ability to apply and provide verifiable and reliable information. Thank you so much for your attention, and I look forward to your questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ayeni. I'm sure we all enjoyed this session. I was able to get some facts, uses and benefits of ChatGPT in academia, general inquiries, shortcomings, and so on. I believe we are putting our questions together for our presenters. Without wasting our time, we need to call on Mr. Maosi Boko to introduce our last speaker for today. Please note our speakers, you have 15 minutes for your presentation. Thank you. Mr. Boko, please unmute yourself.
I'm with you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is. Sorry. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello.
We can hear you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
My name is Boko Mausi. I'm here to. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Go ahead.
A little problem here. Sorry. A little problem here. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
My name is Boko Mausi. I'm here to introduce Dr. Fadila. A brief history about Dr. Fadila. Dr. Fadila Atika Nur Rashid, born on May 28, 1991. Can you hear me? Hello?
Go ahead.
Hey, you, Mr. Mosi, please go ahead.
1991, in Batu Pahat, served as a senior lecturer at the National University of Malaysia. A distinguished scholar, she holds a PhD in electrical engineering from University Tun Hussein, Malaysia, showcasing her experts in field. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Continue.
We can hear you.
Her academic achievements include a master's degree in telecommunication and information engineering from University of Technology, Mara, awarded in 2016, and a bachelor degrees in computer science from University of Technology, Malaysia, and in 2014. Fadila's scholarly pursuits centered around the dynamic realms of computer vision, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Her current research is dedicated to the nuanced exploration of human guilt analysis with healthcare industries, with a particular emphasis on applications in physiotherapy and rehabilitation movements. Her commitment to advancing knowledge is evident through her contributions to academic forums. Dr. Fadila has not only presented her research at conferences, but has also disseminated her findings through publications in esteemed journals, indexing in Web of Science and Scopus. Her impactful research underscores her dedication to intersection of academia and real-world applications. I hereby present Dr. Fadila for her presentation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Boko. All right. Then you need to let me share the screen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead now.
All right. I'll share the screen. Okay. It's here. Okay, can you guys see my screen, perhaps? Yeah?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. So basically for today, we already watched regarding the previous speakers. They were so informative and so technical, and it is really good to have that information as well. So for my topic today, I will go through on ChatGPT versus educators. Will AI, artificial intelligence, help educators or replace them? So we're gonna go through um, some of the concern here. Some of the content of here, which is the first one. What can ChatGPT and chatbot do in educations? And second one, we go through this real world example, which is how well is ChatGPT and chatbot approved in educations. And the third one concerns to the educators, which is what is the drawback of using chatbot and ChatGPT and chatbot in educations. And lastly, we will go through questions regarding, is it AI as a helper or as the replacement? All right. Okay. First of all, we're going to go through the first part of it, which is ChatGPT unlocking the AI's potential. So I think the previous speakers already have a blast explanation on this part. So I'm just going to go through this one. So let me just put some laser point here. Okay. So the first, basically, ChatGPT is a large language model, which is capable to generating human-like text, translating language, writing different kind of creative content, and answering your questions in an informative way. So the first one, it can be ChatGPT. It always can text generation. It can generate creative text format like poems, code, scripts, musical pieces, email or letters, etc. So the use of this ChatGPT on this one, they usually, if you are having some issue with your coding or programming, you can always paste on the AI, and then you can on the ChatGPT, you can always paste on them, and then you ask regarding I got this error, how can you help me with this code? So basically ChatGPT will improve your code and help you in order to get the correct code or script. Okay. Next, regarding the question answering, it will answer your question in an informative way, even if they are open-ended, challenging, or strange. Okay. You can also sometimes me as an educator, I can sense whether the question, whether the answer or whether the essay are from ChatGPT or not. So since we can sense that, we can always ask ChatGPT to do human more like words. Okay, make it more human rather than AI sentences. All right. Next, for language translations, ChatGPT can use for our language, which is Malaysian, Bahasa Melayu. It can go to Spanish and more on. So it can translate any languages that are not well supported by other translation tools. Okay. All right. So what actually this ChatGPT? What actually that ChatGPT can do in education? Basically, we can automate the tasks. For us educators, we have so many tasks and administrative, summarization of papers, teaching material, grading. And for personalized learning is basically for students, it can provide one-to-one tutoring sessions, which help students understand difficult concepts, solve problems, and prepare for exams. So ChatGPT also, it will give instant feedback. It understands the student response, and it provides the feedback that is tailored to the individual needs. And also it will, some of them will, if you ask them to some recommendation on the resources to study on, it will list up any types of resources, including video, podcast, article, and and other interactive tools that complement the classroom learning and also to cater different learning style. Okay, but the question now, we know that ChatGPT is now like worldwidely has been used in this worldwide. Okay, but how well is ChatGPT or chatbot approved in education? So basically, from this article, you see that like Oxford, Wharton, Texas, Arizona State, and Columbia, they already official use and they're already permitted to use ChatGPT in their university. So as long as you responsibly apply AI across student and faculty, researcher, and campus operation, but there is a clause on that. Okay. More on that, for ASU, which is Arizona State University, they had the partnership with OpenAI, where the student from ASU, they can, there are several high demands, which is computer science, data science, and electrical engineering. They might receive unlimited free of charge GPT-4 access for an intelligent tutor and intelligent assistant. Okay, and then there's one professor from Vanderbilt University, Douglas Smith. He had this video content that he gave an overview of how he applies ChatGPT in his several computer science courses that focus on developing and testing concurrent and parallel microservice for a range of computing platforms. Okay. More on this, we have this, there's a professor at Wharton Business School. They required his student to use ChatGPT as his student, as he said that it can help students, especially for non-native English speaker, improve their writing and alleviate the burden of stressful writing tasks. Okay, and the result that they said, some of his students who have used this AI tool, they were take more seriously as a result. Means that, for example, they are writing some reference letter to a company or etc. But by using AI, they were taken more serious rather than having the the sloppy kinda letter writing. Okay. But there is still some concerns regarding this one. First, the most popular one, which is plagiarism and cheating, where the student may attempt to use ChatGPT to generate text for assignment without proper attribution, raising concern about the academic integrity. For example, they just asking the question inside the ChatGPT, and then when the ChatGPT give them the long paragraph, they just copy and paste. Okay, that was the concern. Usually, supposedly, if you allow our student to use ChatGPT, supposedly we will ask them to just take the content but make it in on your own work. Okay, you cannot thoroughly use all the long paragraph because it will cause the plagiarism and cheating. Same goes to the authenticity of the student work. So basically, the use of AI tools to complete assignment raise question about the authenticity, genuineness of student work, and the true learning outcomes. If the ChatGPT doing their homework, then how about if are they learning the learning outcome, the CLO, and etc. And then once they are already use ChatGPT, it will gonna be over reliance on technology. Okay, they will having this lack of critical thinking, problem solving, and independent learning skills. So basically, there are some strategies to ensure that ethical and effective use. For example, we as an educator, we need to have the clear guidelines in our class to make sure using to have this using ChatGPT minimally. Okay, and then make sure we have the transparency and disclosure. We need to ask students if they are using ChatGPT, and they have to disclose their source of information. Next, we need to have the focus on higher order skills. So in order to make sure that they don't use ChatGPT at all, we need to shift our test, might be our test examination or our assignment, to rather than memorization, they need to have more towards on critical thinking based on real case study or etc. Okay. And ongoing evaluation to make sure we continuously evaluate the impact of ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is it is always upgrading. So we need to be on par together with the AI tools. Okay, so this is some details on the ChatGPT versus educators, which is first on the knowledge base. ChatGPT is much broader, but it is static. However, we as educators, we are only specialized on one field or one or two field, but we are continuous update on that specialized. Okay. Sorry. Okay. And for the ChatGPT, the availability is 24/7. However, for educators, we are limited to working hours. Personalization, it is limited, but educators is highly personalized. Emotional support, ChatGPT 9 and educators, we are human, we can provide the empathy and motivations. Interaction usually is text-based for ChatGPT, but for educators, it is more to like, we have face-to-face, we have verbal, and we have non-verbal, okay? Adaptability is based on prompt on ChatGPT, but for educators, we can adjust our teaching style in real time based on the students, okay? Based on the students' learning. Okay, and then there's creativity. I'm gonna go faster. I think I already almost out of 50 minutes. So I just go throughout
Please
here.
round up.
Okay. However, even though if you can see from here, ChatGPT is somehow catching us up. Okay, so AI is not going anywhere. It will become better and more prevalent, and somehow we as educator might be replaced. So in order to make sure we be on par together with the AI tools, we need to embrace the new technologies. We need to develop digital literacy skills, okay? And then we need to foster the critical thinking to the students and promote collaboration, which is make them work with their work with their groups so that they can have the communication with each other. Okay. So hence, is it helper or replacement? It is basically it back to us. It will depend on us educators how we control and embrace the emergence of AI technology. So we need to keep updated so that we can control the AI, not being controlled by the AI. All right. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, please, can you hear me? Okay, thank you, Dr. Fadila. I would like to call on our first speaker, Dr. Mohammed, to have a 5 minutes wrap up before we have the question and answer. Okay, there's a change of program. I think the question and answer should come up now. Let's have questions. I'm sure we have our questions prepared already. Let's have our questions. You can use, okay, we have Dr. Kehinde Abolarin. Please, you can unmute yourself. Let us have your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you so much for the organization of this. Thank you, Professor Adebayo, and also the committee and the speakers as well. And this is an interesting, topic. I'm going to look at it, briefly from the perspective of the universities in the United Kingdom, because I happen to teach in the business school here in Liverpool, and it's a major issue as well in terms of, the approach that the universities should take. So I think Dr. Fadila, she mentioned one thing that we are, currently working on, changing our assessment, making sure it's practical based, not just, based on theories, but giving them, practical scenarios and making sure that the students actually, do the practical things. And I think that's very important. But then the question is, what was the approach of the institution? Because one problem we are facing here in the UK is that every department, every faculty, they are doing their own thing. So is there something that, is there a systemic approach? For example, in Lagos State University, is there a systemic approach to tackle this? Or is it based on faculty, based approach? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please, who did you direct this question to? Dr. Kehinde, please.
I think part of the question is for Lagos State University, which is me.
Okay.
But he mentioned Dr. Fadila, so maybe part of it will be handled by Fadila, but definitely I will also take part of it. Because Dr. Fadila cannot answer questions on Lagos State University.
Dr. Fadila, you can have the floor, please. You can unmute yourself.
Sorry, I cannot unmute myself. I tried every time just now. The organizer doesn't let participants to unmute. All right. Okay. So for answer I think from Dr. Kehinde just now, right? Okay. To answer that question, so we are also in UKM Malaysia. We are also currently having this kind of discussion regarding the issues. So, but somehow, what we can do now is basically the first that we said earlier, which is regarding the having the practical skill instead, having a very personalized skill to make sure ChatGPT cannot do that. Okay, so it is very important to have those things. Other than that, there is also lecturers that really not permitted ChatGPT in the class. So whenever they have sense of the ChatGPT, they will just straight away, not going to mark the and etc. So, but then some the other university in UniRazak, they have these what we call that the rules and regulations that the student must have to follow in using ChatGPT or AI tools. So if they are somehow, for example, if there are not follow the rules and regulation, they might have some warning and etc. on that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Fadila. Professor Adebayo, please. We don't know if you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the anchor person, our HOD, Dr. Adeleke. Going back to the question of Dr. Kehinde Abolarin from Liverpool, you asked whether LASU is tackling this thing systemically or individually. I want to say it is both. I'm happy that our students are here, that the students of Department of Library, and Information Science, Lagos State University. And they are now hearing what can happen if someone or if a student totally depends on artificial intelligence. I want to appreciate our speakers for a job well done. And I want to take an inference from the practical aspect or practical approach through which Dr. Phillips Ayeni handled a part of his presentation. He tried to find out whether the information he got, which he generated from AI or ChatGPT, was actually correct by checking from the Google Scholar, and he saw that most of them were fake or false. So at last we hear, our Senate has set up a committee on artificial intelligence. And part of the term of reference of this committee is to find out whether actually there can be total reliance or partial reliance or no reliance on artificial intelligence. I think by the time they turn in their reports, the university will know which side to take. But on individual basis, I think each lecturer now see this thing on an angle of individualism. One lecturer said that he would not ask his students not to use ChatGPT, but whenever any assignment is submitted, that student will come out and talk on his write-up. If his dependence was totally on ChatGPT, that's why we will not be able to say anything. But if he blended the report with other academic research, we'll be able to say something about it. So at Lagos State University, Nigeria, our approach to ChatGPT or AI in general is both systemic and individual. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Adebayo. We have a question on the chat box, and this question is from Abdulsalam Olugbenga. The first question is to Dr. Mohammed. Does ChatGPT have an open source API that allows for personalization of the APP? And to Dr. Ayeni, can this AI handle plagiarism check? So let's call on Dr. Mohammed to answer the first part of the question. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, sorry. All right, can you hear me now? Yeah, right. Okay, thank you for the question. I think for the first question, I think there is an open source, but it's not from ChatGPT or OpenAI. We call it Llama. Okay, you can search Llama. Currently there is a third version of Llama, and Llama actually is the one that what you call as open source ChatGPT. You can download it and customize it, and also develop for your own apps. But of course, the training will require will require a lot of resources. Basically, you have to have a powerful GPU to run that particular program. Okay, because it will take a long time. Even if you use the normal computer, of course, it will take a long time. So yeah, that's the first question. And the second question is regarding the okay, I think Boko already mentioned about Llama in the chat. You can actually see and search online. Okay, and regarding the second question, right? Basically, if you paraphrase, right, you still have some potential of detecting as a plagiarism. So a good rule of thumb actually is to go through it for several layers. I call it several layers. Basically, when you edit or update your text using ChatGPT, like a second speaker said just now, right? Basically, you use ChatGPT to rewrite or rephrase your text to become academic text. That's one layer. Another layer actually is to improve it further by making, like our third speaker said, maybe make it more human-like text, right? And then the third actually is going through another AI tool like Quillbot or Chat or Grammarly, or even to go through a very specific procedure using the ChatGPT and so on to check only for grammar, not for not for the facts of that text itself. So by doing that, you have several layers of changes to the text, and by doing that, it can actually you can actually avoid being plagiarizing. Okay, that's one of the way of avoiding being plagiarized. But of course, you still have chances of being plagiarized by just paraphrasing. Not only using AI tools, but even if you just paraphrase yourself, you still have some chances of being detected plagiarizing, not just because of AI tool, okay, but because of it depends on the style of writing and also the layers of modification, and basically the best way for you to actually improve your writing actually is by putting that word or text in your own word lah. So that's why traditional way of writing is the best way lah. Of course, using AI tool, you can still avoid plagiarizing or paraphrasing, but you have to go through several layers. So I hope that answered the question lah. Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Ayeni, could you please answer the second question? Can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, yeah, yes, thank you. I think part of that has been answered by Dr. Mohammed. So can you use AI tools to dictate plagiarism? I think yes. There are some tools that you can use to detect AI generated content like Quillbot, like ZeroGPT. But I think generally, if you want to detect plagiarism, I think there are tools that have been established that have been used over time, like Turnitin. I think there is one free online tool which I use for my scholarly writing, which is PaperRater. It's actually free, but you can't copy the whole document. You have to put like 3 paragraphs and then it can dictate, because sometimes we write and you are not even sure that you don't know that you're actually not citing, maybe you're not writing properly, or maybe you're not paraphrasing properly, and it will dictate it as plagiarism, right? So it's also good for you. It's a good practice to be able to conduct plagiarism test yourself when you're writing before you send it out. So for AI generated content, there are tools now that you can use to verify whether it has been generated by AI. But for plagiarism itself, I think there are established tools that have been used over time, by universities. Some of these are very expensive, some of them are free. Like Turnitin is very expensive. It's something that university can afford, but individually, I don't think you can afford that. But you can use PaperRater, which is free, to check the level of plagiarism in your writing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayeni. So I would like to call on the digital librarian. You need to unmute yourself, please. You have the floor, the digital librarian.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Adeleke. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I just want to quickly say thank you. That this webinar, seriously, I've been looking forward to this day, set so many reminders, and indeed I've gained new knowledge. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And the new knowledge is especially in the area of what the best practice really is outside Nigeria. And it just buttresses some of the things I know about this already. So my question is in 2 ways. The first question is this, and they are actually very thought-provoking, not directed at any facilitator, even directed to every one of us. Number one, if I have prompted AI to get the results that it shares with me, should I not take a certain percentage or level of credits for the results I have gotten? That's my first question. Because why I ask this question is we tend to be focusing more on text created by AI. Generative AI is not just about text. Video is there. Synthesia is there. Synthesia can create video, like my brother said. So those videos that we post, those AI images that we post, how often do we give credit to those things? And do we say that those people who do that are intellectual thieves too, which is the word plagiarism? That's my first question. Then my second question, which is the finals, is this. We know that AI isn't entirely the author of the work that it generates. And there are a lot of indications by scholars that shows that plagiarism is really getting more confusing to define. We don't know what plagiarism is anymore. Now, if I now take my text created from AI into Quillbot, does it mean that I have no more plagiarized? And from the recommendation of the second speaker, yes, that's the second speaker, he hasn't entirely condemned the usage of AI. So the question clearly is this: how then should we use AI ethically? Not just the grammar, but specifically, how do we acknowledge or reference it, that it will be accepted and said, okay, this is, yes, you can use AI because you reference it in the normal way. So thank you so much for the opportunity to ask this question. God bless you, Ba.
All right, thank you, the digital librarian. I think I would like to call on Dr. Ayeni to address this. Please unmute yourself. Kindly unmute yourself.
All right, thank you. So yeah, I had to wait for the to be unmuted. Okay, so that's a very thought-provoking question, digital librarian. I think it's very important ethically to reference any source we are using for intellectual output, whether it's academic writing or otherwise. So if you are using AI for any part of your scholarly writing, or whether anything you use, whether it's video content or whether it's for some people, you actually use AI for generating PowerPoint presentations, right? So, but we often than not, we see people do not acknowledge them, do not acknowledge the AI tool they use. But I think even in journals now, some journals are not totally kind of overruling the use of AI in academic writing. But if you are using AI in any section of your academic test, you need to reference it. But I mean, some scholars actually use AI as kind of co-authors now, even though it's a very how would I say it? It's contentious kind of situation, because AI is typically it's not like human-like, and people are kind of so it's very complex, right? But if you're using AI for any part of your scholarly writing, it's very it's ethical to acknowledge where you are using AI. So like I said, you can use AI to paraphrase, and I don't, well, it's very complex, which for me, I don't actually use AI for any of my scholarly texts. For when I did my PhD, people use Grammarly, and which is often accepted to use Grammarly to paraphrase and all of that. But I think it's important for us to develop that skills ourselves, to be able to write, and to be able to generate whatever we need by ourselves. It takes time, over time you get used to writing and all of this. But when you are using AI, which you can't totally rule out, you need to acknowledge where you are using AI, how you have used it, and but I must acknowledge that not everybody will do that, because it may raise kind of contention. People may say, why did you use AI? And particularly in a region where they've not totally accepted the use. But yeah, I think we need, as scholars, as librarians, information scientists, or wherever you need to get that, you develop that habit of acknowledging the right sources, whether it's AI or whatnot. Yeah, I hope I answered your question, digital librarian.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ayeni. We still have some other people. Can we call on Ms. Eniafe to ask a question? We might not be able to take all these questions because of our time. Ms. Eniafe, you have the floor, please. Kindly unmute yourself.
Hello, ma. Good afternoon, ma. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, ma. Good afternoon.
You can go on, please.
My name is Eniafe from School of Library, Archival and Information Science, Lagos State University. Please, my question goes to Dr. Ayeni. I would like to know if ChatGPT can be used to solve mathematical equations. Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for that question. I think yes. I am not a mathematician and I have not used it for mathematics, but from what I've seen online, people use ChatGPT for mathematical equations, right? So particularly when it's a known terrain and data supporting that kind of equation is openly available, I believe ChatGPT will be able to do that. Yes. So the question is yes. Maybe if our AI expert can also answer that question specifically, because I'm not an AI expert, but yeah, Dr. Mohammed or Dr. Fedila, yeah.
Okay, we have, thank you, Dr. Ayeni. We have Dr. Babagana. He wants to help us with that question. He wants to contribute.
Okay.
You have the floor, please. Kindly unmute yourself.
Okay, hello.
Yes, we can hear you, please.
Good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
We are very much grateful for this webinar, and we have learned a lot from our respective professors and doctors. And I would like to contribute what he asked about can you use ChatGPT for mathematical problems? Yes, of course, he can use the ChatGPT for mathematical problems, but you have to confirm the authenticity of the answers from the ChatGPT, because sometimes the ChatGPT is used, it gives a wrong answer, especially when you are using the non-pro version, that is the pre version, which is 3.5. And if you want to use the ChatGPT for mathematical problem, you have to subscribe to the pro version, because the pro version, it has a lot of features. So
Okay, thank you very much for your response, Mr. or Dr. Babagana. We appreciate you. I would like to call on the last person whose hand is raised. This is Dr. Nike Adebayo. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please. You can go ahead.
Yeah. All right. I would like to appreciate the organizers and the speaker for this presentation. It's a very topical issue, and I've been able to learn from it. Mine is not exactly a question, but a comment. At my university, I also work in the UK at Liverpool John Moores University. So the approach that my school decided to adopt was based on some of the things that we've seen from our students, because we're in the business school and our students go out to the industry on work placements. And within these placements, they've been able to discover that businesses use AI, generative AI, to make them work faster and smarter as well. So as such, when they came back to the university, and then the lecturer started saying they're not allowed to use this because they'll be dependent on it, and that's not how academic work should be done. So they were a bit confused because they know when they go back to the industry, these are the kind of tools that they'll be using as business professionals. So based on that, the university decided that they are going to allow the use of AI, but that students should use the tool in a constructive way, such that they're able to get ideas from this tool, but then they don't depend on it solely to write their reports, essays, or other assignments that they've been asked to do at the university. So, and then in particular, the university has bought a tool which we call Copilots, and that's what we use at a university. So students have access to it, and lecturers as well. Even lecturers too can go to the Copilot even to consult the platform for their lesson plan and things like that, which indeed it makes the work easier. So I think what we should also be focusing on moving forward is that this tool is here to stay, like one of the speakers said, and we should begin to look at how we can benefit from it rather than discourage the use of AI completely within our institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Dr. Olateju, you are muted.
Okay, sorry. Thank you, Dr. Adebayo, for your contribution. I believe we have really gained a lot from this webinar, and we'll be bringing it to an end in few minutes. But the question still comes to mind. We have spoken about ChatGPT, and we have heard a lot today. So should we embrace it? It can only be used. Let us take note that it can only be used as a tool and cannot substitute for human thinking. We must also verify information and sources. We must develop critical thinking and evaluation skills. So in conclusion, ChatGPT can be a valuable asset in academic activities. It is so obvious. It can enhance learning and research, but we still need to maintain academic integrity. We appreciate everyone that has. I'll still call on our school officer and deputy registrar to give a vote of thanks. But the dean has mentioned it earlier, Professor Adebayo, that we rely on our speakers, and for everyone, our school is still growing. The dean mentioned earlier that it is the first in West Africa and it is the second in Africa. So we rely on our speakers, we rely on our participants to help project our school, the School of Library, Archival and Information Science. And we are also open to collaboration. We use this opportunity to seek for international support in terms of funding. And if you like to contact us, you can contact the acting HOD, Dr. Adeleke, on www.olateju.adeleke@lasu.edu.ng. I would like to call on the school officer to give a vote of thanks at this point. Dr. Bada, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, my HOD. The webinar has been quite insightful. New knowledges have been shared, and I want to appreciate all the participants and the presenters. We appreciate your wealth of knowledge. Like the HOD said, we are open to collaborations. We are open to your contribution because the school is just coming up, and then it will be very nice if we can get more from your wealth of experience in moving the school forward. Thank you very much. I appreciate your presentation, and God bless all of you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bada, for that vote of thanks. I want to repeat my email, olateju.adeleke@lasu.edu.ng. I'll put it in the chat box. I would like to call on the Dean, I don't know if he has a comment before we bring this webinar to a final close.
Well, thank you, HOD. I want to also join the school officer, Dr. Bada, in expressing our gratitude to everybody who is here today, our speakers, and our participants. By my own judgment, it's hugely a success, and we look out for more of this. I want to say that any of the participants who needs the soft copy of this presentation can contact the HOD through the email address that she just gave. Once again, I want to thank everybody and apologize to our speakers from Malaysia. I think by now it's almost 11 o'clock in the night in that place. We actually miscalculated. We didn't know that you were far ahead of us. We thought you were behind us. So thank you so much. And next time when we call upon you, I hope you will answer us. And then to my student, Dr. Ayeni, apology that most of the questions came to you. Why it came to you was because you are a Yoruba man and they think they can bombard a Yoruba man harder than what they can do to a foreigner or to foreigners. So I hope you won't be angry with them. And next time when we call on you, I hope you will still answer us. Then to our HOD, Dr. Adeleke, I want to appreciate you for what you did today. I didn't know that you have such a very sweet voice. So thank God I gave you the assignment. And to our lecturers, yeah, there are just two of them. The HOD is the third, and I'm the fourth in the entire faculty. So you know that we really need help. It's we are just 4 in that faculty now. So we need international collaborations and even local collaborations too. So Adegoroye, Adebola, we thank you. And Maosi Boko, we also thank you. So to everybody, we want to appreciate you. We are in the Faculty of Law at Lagos State University, and the law librarians are here. We also thank you. And my personal assistant, who has been assisting in the technical aspect of this thing. Asante, thank you so much. We want to appreciate everybody. So the HOD will now tell us what to do, whether to close here or to, if there's any refreshment for us. Through Bluetooth.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you for being on this platform. Cheers and have a lovely evening and have a lovely night rest. For those who are...
Thank you so much. Okay, we didn't appreciate our students. So can you please greet our students?
Our students, can you focus on them? Okay.
Our students, let's see you.
Okay.
Is it possible?
Yes, it is. Hold on, sir.
Can we see them? Let our foreign partners see them. Thank you.
So I really enjoyed this session. I requested for that academy slide. Yes, okay.
Students, oh yeah, you can come. Okay.
Just so you're not done.
Hello.
Lose connection,
okay. Can you move it?
No, I'm okay. You're almost running out.
So while waiting for the students, let me also appreciate, okay, they are here. They are here. This is Boko, one of the lecturers. So So the students are there sitting at the far end. So cheers. You're welcome. Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody.
This video,
so interesting. I discovered that you have over 100.
That was it.
No, to join.
Audio on video. I don't need audio. Video.
Chodri, I think we can round up. HOD.
I'm with you, sir.
So please, let's round up.
All right, sir.
We can give the final instruction.
Okay, have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay.